actually had this conversation offline, but growing up for me, my mom made the craziest.
Oh no.
Yes. So this is going to sound absolutely disgusting. I absolutely love it, by the way. So mommy would make arroz amarillo con ensalada y mayonesa. So that was my Caesar dressing.
That was
Like, instead of Caesar dressing, we mixed mayonnaise with the lettuce. And it wasn't arugula either. It wasn't romaine. It was iceberg lettuce with mayonnaise.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. But now that I'm older, I'm like, Mommy, I don't think that was like the right thing to do. And I tell people all the time, like, we drank morisoñando. We had Malta milkshakes.
Malta, yeah.
Mommy would put condensed milk with Malta and shake it up in the blender and be like, here. And it was banging. Like, it was so delicious. But as I got older, I'm like, this wasn't right.
Right.
So there was a lot of unlearning that had to be done.
Yeah. And there's still the same ways you can enjoy those flavors.
Well, that was going to be my question. Like, how, like, we're
Yeah.
Spanish. Like, what is that though?
Exactly.
Can you enjoy those flavors?
You can. And like I always tell people, it's in moderation.
Okay.
Like if you want to have white rice, that's fine, but have some beans with it. Because the thing with white rice is that it takes out, the fiber from it. So if you add the beans into it, that's adding the fiber back into it.
Okay.
So, and it's about portion control. That's the thing.
really
Because,
is.
growing up, it was like they pile on the plate, I remember abuela like, come, like, and you're like, oh, I'm full. But you had to finish it.
And it was almost disrespectful if you didn't finish your
had to
food.
finish your plate. So it's unlearning that mentality of you have to finish everything on your plate.
Right.
That's like a hard thing that sometimes we don't even think about, So it's
Right.
about portion control. You can do things like, yes, you can make, arroz con candule with brown rice, You can do different things and you can substitute and try quinoa with this or that. That's great. It's nutritionally, it's great. But if you want to stick to the foods that you're familiar with, I always say the first step is just cut it down.
Yeah.
Like watch your portions.
Absolutely.
Like start with that first. It's baby steps. Like don't jump right in, hardcore into the brown rice and the quinoa because it's hard, little by little you'll get there, but start with portion control.
Do you still eat like avena, like Latina avena?
I
with the
haven't
like
in the longest.
carnation milk and the like, do you, because that's our oatmeal. Like we
Yes.
don't do regular.
Yes.
Do you still?
I have it because my daughter loves it.
Yeah.
She loves it. And every time I'm like, let me get a taste. But I kind of switch because now, since I've adjusted my body, like it gives me a stomach ache. Like all the sugar, it makes me feel
That's
sick.
a real thing for us
Yeah.
too, because as I've gotten older, there's a lot of things I can no longer eat. I can no longer drink. I used to be able to drink soda and like just Pepsi or like ginger. I can't do that anymore. I can't. Like, I feel like it weighs me down. But my bustelo is a real thing.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. I still, and it's so funny. People are like, you drink your coffee black? And I'm
That's
like,
right.
that's the only way. I drink, like, why I'm not doing frappuccinos.
No.
That's not a thing for me.
And that's great. That's the best way to have it because if you
Yeah.
want, that's the way to taste the flavor of it.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Yes. But then also, like, there were a lot of things that I didn't realize, right? Because there were things in terms of like just energy. I didn't have like really good energy. So one time I went to the doctor and I'm like, could you take my blood? I want to see what's going on with me. And it turned out that I had low thyroids. But that wasn't a thing for me. And it wasn't a thing in my family. And so when I had to explain to my mom that, hey, I'm on medication for the rest of my life. Like, it's like cholesterol meds. Like, once you're on thyroid medications, you have to really watch it because that affects everything. It's like the DNA of your entire system.
Yep.
Is that something that, is a thing for you? I wonder. Like, I'm not.
For thyroid, no, I don't have a
You don't-
thyroid. No, but
She's like, girl,
but
I'm
different
good.
things. Like
Yeah.
like my husband was just diagnosed with diabetes, and that's like a
Yeah.
different thing, and that's huge in the Latino community too.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I would eat certain ways. So now we're changing the way he eats in certain ways because sometimes you go off to work and at lunchtime he's like, "Woo, fast food, let's go here, let's
And
go there,"
that's
and
it.
that changed. So he's starting to bring his lunch to work from the things that we make at home. It's about making those adjustments because he realized too that why, like he wants to be there for his family. And that
Right.
was a wake up call. You know, diabetes is no joke and it's something to be taken seriously.
Mhm.
And making those small adjustments, finding the right doctor, getting the right medication, it really makes a difference in how he feels too, you know, just like the
Absolutely.
different energy level, you know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it really makes a difference.
And you know what's so crazy to me? Doctors for us, even growing up, it's like mommy patched things up and that I would bleed and it'll be like, no, 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 we're gonna apply pressure. We're not going to, and it's like, why are we not going to the doctor?
Hmm.
Like, why are we not health conscious? Like, I felt like there was a gap
Hmm.
in the culture. Um, and I wasn't sure. I'm
Hmm.
like, was it like the healthcare system? Like, what was it? Like, why weren't we getting like, checkups on a regular basis, like annual checkups? Um, and again, it's a lot of things that now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, I have to dentist annual, GYN, regular checkups. But my mom wasn't teaching me that. And I don't want to, because my mom is an amazing woman. So I'm not going to like just downplay her. But I just think it's also like generation, right?
Yes.
Like how you were raised.
Sure.
So for you, how were you raised like in your family, your mom and your dad?
Hmm.
How was that living situation for you?
Health wise, you know, my mom would cook great, but sometimes, you know, my dad was working full time. She was working part time, you know, trying to help us out. There were four of us in the house. Like it was a little crazy.
Right. Did
Um,
you cook, by the way?
but
Like
I
growing
started
up?
toward the end because
Toward the end.
sometimes they
Okay.
would need, you know, my mom would need help. She'd be like,
Okay.
it was easy though. She was
Right.
like, girl, here's a mac and cheese. It's in a box. Like you need to make this for your sisters, and here's some hot dogs.
Right.
Like it
Right.
was like
Right.
simple, but it was an introduction for me, you know,
Mhm.
because I was still, you know, in high school. Um, but yeah, health wise, growing up, I think we were pretty much health conscious.
Mhm.
We always were active. You know,
Okay.
all of my sisters were in sports, like whether it was swimming, whether it was basketball, volleyball, track. Like I think my parents just wanted to keep us active
Right.
and out of trouble, which
It's just like,
which
girl,
helped.
just go out.
Yes.
I need me time. Right.
But I think you really hit on something is that culturally, you're right. Like sometimes that was a thing. Like what was that? You know, anytime it was like throw some what the
Ponte Vicks.
yes, thank you.
Ponte Vicks.
Yes, totally. Like that was always the thing. And it was like, I have a headache. Ponte Vic, you know.
Ponte Vicks.
And it was like, but those kind of things, like we laugh about it now, but that
Mhm.
was the mentality.